It is quiet now on the convention floor behind me, but it won't be in a couple of hours from now. Donald Trump's defiant fist in the air has already become the symbol of his election campaign, endlessly echoed by attendees here in Milwaukee. Even his choice of running mate shows a determination to fight, with a combative JD Vance drawn from the heart of the Trump empire. Both were officially nominated to rapturous applause last night, but the process for confirming President Joe Biden as his Democrat opponent is quietly also about to begin.
Donald J. Trump.
Even in his more lurid daydreams, a younger Trump surely could not have envisaged his journey from hotel mogul to the foothills of presidential power for yet another time. Brandishing fist, but also square fig leaf of mortality. Americans often fetishize the office of the presidency, but this adulation is new. It is religious, cult-like, triggering the revulsion from the other side. But today, this is his party, his arena, his brush with destiny. If Trump can survive the assassin's bullet by the width of an earlobe, then surely political resurrection is a done deal. That's how they feel. That's what his sons believe. Although notice no sign of once favoured daughter Ivanka or mostly absent wife Melania. Also on stage, his newly adopted son, the man he picked to be his spare and possibly his heir, JD Vance, senator from Ohio, 39 years old. He is MAGA man enhanced, pressing the convention flesh with his Indian-born wife Usha, who he met at the elite Yale Law School. Vance is an unabashed Christian nationalist who believes that abortion should never be permitted and who has said that the insurrection of January the 6th should have been completed.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted.
The fact that Trump chose him reflects his confidence in winning and his focus on ensuring a legacy.
Thank you guys so much. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Vance's journey from white poverty to the front lines of venture capitalism and politics is remarkable, as is this journey.
I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
From never Trumper to always Trumper, a point I raised with the revelers. In 2016,
I know.
he did say that anyone who voted for Trump was an idiot.
We all learn from our mistakes.
Right.
And he also said that Trump was either as cynical as Nixon or as dangerous as Adolf Hitler.
He's learned.
He's learned?
I do believe
So
that.
you forgive him
I
those
do.
mistakes?
I do. He gets one more chance.
Trump probably knows everything he said and has probably memorized it. But he knows exactly what kind of person he really is, and I'm sure that they've talked quite a bit since then. So,
Water under the bridge.
Water under the bridge. Well, I think so. He's his VP pick, so I would say that's an understatement.
They may believe that converts make the best apostles, but the Democrats hope to exploit Vance's opportunism and his hardline ideology. Cue President Biden, who breaks into a desperate jog as soon as he sees the camera.
Look at JD Vance. He's a clone of Trump on the issues. A clone of Trump on the issue. So I don't see any difference.
Biden continues on his resurrection tour, proving to party and country that he's still up to the job.
Who do you listen to on deeply personal issues, like the decisions whether to stay in the race or not?
Me. Look, I've been doing this a long time. The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump.
Some senior Democrats still worry that Biden may lose them the White House and the Senate. And yet the party leadership, like the president, are in a hurry. They're trying to fast-track his nomination process before the Democrat convention next month. Back here at the Republican convention, they're dancing to what they believe will be Donald Trump's second coming. They may be wrong. The polls are still neck and neck, but they don't seem to care. Well, earlier I spoke to the pollster Frank Luntz and started by asking him whether Trump's choice for Vice President JD Vance was a good idea.
There are only 3 states that really matter right now: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Working class voters, people who live paycheck to paycheck. JD Vance knows more about those people than anybody else.
And yet the Democrats, I'm told, were hoping it would be JD Vance, because if it's him, and it is him, they've got a very clear attack line.
But let me be clear. Everything the Democrats have tried to do over the last 6 months has failed. Every strategy that they put forward has actually made Donald Trump stronger, not weaker. If that's what the Democrats want, then I'm sure that this is a good choice, because they are running truly the worst campaign, the worst messaging of anything that I've seen in decades.
What about the fact that JD Vance has said not only was January the 6th okay, if he had been in charge as vice president, he would have actually made it happen. He would have overturned that result.
That's a problem. That's a real problem.
But does it count against him with swing voters?
In the end, I hate to acknowledge this, but the vice presidential candidate doesn't really matter. As long as you reach that certain threshold, you're going to be fine.
Frank, there's been a lot of talk here about civil war, especially after the assassination attempt on Saturday. Is that really a possibility?
It's not. These are not people who pick up guns and try to kill each other. This is not a country that divides that way. We have our own problems. The hostility, the negativity, the people actually losing faith and confidence in democracy, and finally saying, a plague on both your houses. So civil war, no. Further division, further polarization and toxicity, absolutely it could happen over the next...
What about Trump as an autocratic president, backsliding on democracy?
Well, let's see what he does going forward. We know what he said going backward, and it's problematic. Let's see how he communicates going forward, because he seems, and this first day of the convention showed it, he seems like there might be a new Donald Trump because of what happened on Saturday.
Frank, the Democrats are trying to rush the nomination of Joe Biden almost on the sly. I guess they're afraid that there'll be more, challenges to it. What hope do they have, speaking as an outsider, what hope do they have to win the presidency, to hold on to it?
Well, they still have hope, because in the end, we don't know what Donald Trump's going to do. He's the ultimate wild card. Make no mistake, he's in the driver's seat. In fact, if the election were held today, Donald Trump would win by a significant margin. But we don't know what he's going to say on Thursday. There's a reason for your viewers to tune in. In the end, it is Trump's election to win, because it seems like it's been Joe Biden's election to lose.
And is Trump, as he often has been, still his own worst enemy?
To a fair degree, yes, but one does not know what this brush with death, this losing one's life by an inch, that has an impact on people. Let's see what an impact it has on Trump.
The people last night on the floor when Trump appeared were dancing as if this was a kind of music festival. Is that misplaced, that kind of exuberance?
No, that's never happened before. I'm standing in the center, about one section above them. I've never seen this happen. Republicans don't dance, and there's a reason for that. But there's celebrations, and on the floor, we saw people that we've never seen before on the stage. African Americans speaking out in favor of Republicans, union leaders speaking out in favor of Republicans.
What's that all about? Why is that so new?
We are going through a transformation of American politics, and the fact is that transformation was in full view for Americans nationwide. I've never seen anything like this in 35 years of politics. Whether it holds through November, I can't tell you. What I saw last night, I have never seen in a convention. I've been going to them since 1988.
Briefly and finally, is that a political party down there or a cult?
It really loves its candidate, and I don't want to dismiss the intensity, the commitment to their candidate, and contrast that with the disappointment and the loss of faith in Joe Biden. That's what's significant. In the end, Donald Trump will not win a single vote because of the assassination attempt. But every Trump supporter will become a Trump voter in November. And you cannot say that about Biden supporters right now.
Is Biden's goose cooked?
It's being basted right now. God, I love the British questions.
Frank Luntz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, the attendees here were delighted with the pick of Trump's loyalist, JD Vance, for his vice president. But there's a carefully crafted strategy behind it, too. The author of Hillbilly Elegy rose to prominence as a voice for America's forgotten working class, Yale Law School and venture capital career aside. But will the choice put off those all-important swing voters? Our Washington correspondent, Siobhan Kennedy, has been talking to some of those who might actually be crucial in November.
If you want to understand the voters that Donald Trump wants to win over with his choice of running mate, you need to come to places like this. Not Washington, D.C., but Washington County, Pennsylvania, and the small town of Monongahela. We're just over the border from Ohio, the state JD Vance represents in the Senate. This town was once at the heart of the booming Rust Belt, but the steel mills have long since closed and the jobs went with them.
This is the book Hillbilly Elegy, written by JD Vance. I just started it this morning.
He's only 40 pages in, but Buddy says Vance speaks to people just like him.
Its population had changed little since the 50s, when the flood of migrants on the Hillbilly Highway slowed to a dribble.
You're obviously quite excited about JD Vance.
Absolutely.
Why? Tell me.
He would have been my pick. He has not been tainted by Washington, D.C. yet. He's just a perfect fit. He knows what the forgotten man is all about.
And what is this forgotten man all about?
People who worked hard, raised their family with one income, just honesty, integrity, just core human values.
It makes you feel emotional saying that.
Sure does.
Why? Tell me.
Well, because it's like a dream is being lost. You know, I guess hope would be a good word. Hope for the future.
In picking JD Vance, Trump has chosen a man who understands his base. White, working-class Americans who feel left behind by the Washington elites. Now Trump's hoping Vance will help him win over voters in critical swing states like Pennsylvania. He's already won over Ellen, despite the fact Vance wasn't always a Trumper.
I mean, he used to criticize Donald Trump pretty strongly.
I know a lot of people that criticize Trump, and they've turned around when they've seen what he did for us. He's for the country.
Up the road, we meet Chuck, who's run this scrapyard for nearly 40 years. He doesn't believe Donald Trump at 78 is past his prime, but thinks picking a younger model like JD Vance to keep the MAGA brand alive is a smart idea.
And he's a young guy, too. If something happened to Trump, he's capable of taking over the country. He's smart.
Wife Patty is a big Vance fan.
I've been following him and like him. He came from more or less sort of a background that is similar to folks around here or folks in the country that started from nothing and worked their way up as the American dream.
So will Trump-Vance be the dream ticket? They'll have to carry these Rust Belt states if they're to take the White House in November. Trump did it before with his Vice President Mike Pence, but then he fell out spectacularly with his boss at the end of their term. For Vance's sake, it may be all smiles now, but he'd better hope their bromance doesn't go the same way.